I have a live for you today. And I gotta tell you, this one's not like the other ones. So if you come here for some great motivational words of wisdom or some knowledge and education around health and wellness or beer recommendations, this is not going to cover any of those things. Nope. I am going to share a story with you that I recently thought of because it entertained me, and hopefully it does the same for you. And so on this Monday, I'm just going to tell you not to have super high expectations of your Live with Coach Danny, and just to sit back and maybe grab a drink and enjoy some quick entertainment about how I realized I'm turning into my mom, which is not a bad thing. My mom's awesome, so it's actually an awesome thing. I can't think of a better person I'd rather be than my mom. And when we talk about what we're drinking today, I'm just drinking water right now because the 49ers are playing. Go Niners. Tonight they'll be 4-0 after this evening, which is super exciting. And I plan on doing all the drinking after kickboxing when we watch football. So I'm just hydrating before I dehydrate. But I had this funny moment today. Actually, it was yesterday. And it made me think about how much I'm turning into my mom and what a cool thing that is. But it reminded me of a story that's really funny. And so before I can tell you about what I'm doing that reminds me of my mom, I have to take you way, way back because you have to understand this story for what it is because it's hilarious and it's also very seasonally appropriate. So I was about 6 and my brother was probably 4. Maybe a little older, but we'll just give or take around that age. And we had come home from trick-or-treating with my dad. So my dad always took us trick-or-treating around the neighborhood, and my mom always stayed home to give out the candy. Which, as a kid, I didn't really ever think about it. That's just always how it was. But now as adults, the fact that one parent has to stay home while the other one gets to go out and have all the fun is total bullshit. We got to figure out a better system. I'm not sure what it is, because if all the parents went out trick-or-treating, there'd be no one to pass out the candy. But, both Omar and I go trick-or-treating with beer, obviously, because everybody drinks while they trick-or-treat, right? So anyways, so we're 4 and 6, and we're trick-or-treating with my dad. And we're done, and we're walking home, and there's a car that's kind of parked outside of our house, and we see, and now granted, this is my 6-year-old recollection of these events, so I remember them very vividly, but they're also from the mind of a 6-year-old, so I just want to preface that. And we're talking about this being 1988, 1989, somewhere in that vicinity. So we are walking home, and we see 2 guys taking the pumpkins, our carved pumpkins, our jack-o'-lanterns, off of our front porch and running into their car with them. And I don't really understand why. And in fact, if maybe either my mom or dad could comment, because now as I'm remembering the story as a parent of a 4 and 6-year-old, ironically, none of this actually makes any sense, but I promise you this is what happened. So we see these guys stealing our pumpkins, and my dad decides that we should do the only rational thing that a parent with 2 young children would do on Halloween in this situation, and we should get in the car and chase after them. So we jump in his car, and he gets me and Deej in there, my brother, and I don't remember being in car seats. Laws were maybe different then. Maybe we were. I probably had a seatbelt on. I could have been in the front seat. I don't really know. But I do know that we chased down these guys who stole our pumpkins, and I vividly remember them throwing shit at us. They were throwing, pumpkin seeds out the window, and at one point a scarecrow. They threw shit out. So they must have been driving around stealing all sorts of Halloween stuff. I mean, now that I'm an adult, I realize they were probably a couple of high teenagers, and this is what they did on Halloween and thought they were really funny, so whatever. And my dad was just having none of it, so we were chasing them down a very busy street. I don't know what he thought we were gonna do when we got them. I don't know, but at some point they must have ran a red light. We decided not to. We lost them. The high-speed pumpkin chase of 1988 was over, and we turned around and we came back home. And my brother and I were freaked out. Like, we were so afraid. Like, these guys know where we live. And, like, my dad's all up in arms about this thing. And my mom is just, like, terrified and, like, holding the Halloween candy, like, not sure what has just happened. And pretty sure she was probably more mad at my dad for taking us along on the high-speed pumpkin chase than she was about the pumpkins actually being stolen. But anyways, we all went to bed. And my brother and I were really freaked out, like, so freaked out. So we wake up the next morning and we're watching cartoons or something. Like, we're in, like, the living room area and the doorbell rings, right? So the doorbell rings and my mom's like, I wonder who that could be. And so we all, like, run to the door, and sitting out on our front stoop is 2 pumpkin pies with a note that said something along the lines of, we didn't steal your pumpkins, we just wanted to make you pies. And my mom was like, oh my God, that is so awesome. They weren't bad guys. They were making us pie. And my brother and I were, like, so excited. We were like, oh, they made us pie. This is awesome. And it's pumpkin pie. And we love pumpkin pie. And we all sat down on the morning after Halloween of '88. And we had slices of pumpkin pie. And it made for this wondrous, like, November 1st, like, pumpkin pie day. Right? Great story. So for the rest of my childhood and into my teenage years and all the way up until I was 19, I had full vivid memory of this story, and I shared it with everybody who would listen. Like, I just thought this was the coolest thing ever. Like, these must be, like, pumpkin pie bandits who go around and collect pumpkins when nobody needs them anymore, because really after November 1st you throw out your pumpkin anyways, and they take them to their house and they make a bunch of pumpkin pies and they re-deliver them in the night. And what cool people these were to have done this. And that is how I retold this story for a good decade of my life. And finally one day, I was 19 and I was sitting around with some of my friends, and I don't even know, we were out in the backyard, my mom was there, we were just hanging out, and I'm retelling the story, and my mom just starts laughing. And I'm like, what? And she's like, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. And I was like, no, you were there. Like, you remember, like, they stole the pies, they threw the scarecrow. She's like, oh yeah, no, that all happened. I was like, right. And then the next morning they brought us pies. She's like, yeah, that's the part that didn't happen. I was like, no, Mom, there was 2 pies, there was a note, like, I remember this. And she goes, oh yeah, there were pies and there was a note, but I did that. And I was like, what? And she's like, me and your dad, like, we went out and got pies that morning when you and your brother were sleeping. And then Dad dropped them on the front porch and rang the doorbell and ran around the front of the house so that I could lead you guys to the door, because you guys were so scared and we didn't want you to be scared. So we thought that we would just make up this story about the pumpkin pie bandits. And I was like, holy shit. Are you kidding? She goes, yeah, like, just listen to yourself tell it. Do you think if strangers stole our pumpkins, we'd let you eat pie that just showed up at our front door the next day? Like, no one would just let their kids eat random pie off the front door. Like, obviously. And as soon as she said that, I was like, my whole childhood has been one big lie. Like, there was never any pumpkin pie bandits. There was just some asshole teenagers that stole our pumpkins and threw a scarecrow at us. No one ever brought back pie. Like, and I must have told this story to hundreds, maybe not hundreds. I mean, there wasn't social media back then. Otherwise, like, now who knows how many people will hear it. But I told this story to everybody up until I was 19. And I still now, at this time of year, whenever I see pumpkin pie, I think about it, and it makes me just laugh. And for those of you that know my mom and my dad, like, you could totally understand this story and how funny that is. And so the other day, circling this full, now I am a mom, and I have a 4 and 6-year-old, ironically, that it fits into this story. And my son is a total video game addict. He loves games. He loves Mario, he loves Pokemon, he loves Zelda, he loves all of them. And there's some Mario game that he has found. and I don't really understand the whole concept behind it. He'll tell you all about it if you let him. But there is the Mario, Luigi, Princess Peach, Toad, and Yoshi. And then on like the other side, like the bad guys, there's like the rabid versions of these. So there's like rabid Mario and rabid Yoshi and rabid Princess Peach, and they look terrifying, and they do kind of resemble rabbits, but they are definitely rabid. But my son and daughter have heard it from the beginning as Rabbit Mario. It's Rabbit, like with a T, not a D. Rabbit Mario, Rabbit Luigi. And that's what they call them. And now it's actually evolved into Bunny Mario and Bunny Luigi. And they're these terrifying little creatures. But they call them, I'm lowering my voice a little bit because I don't want them to hear it. So, but they call them like they just collected Bunny Yoshi. Like it's Bunny Yoshi. And in their minds, they're little bunny characters. And I'm laughing to myself because I'm not going to correct this, because bunnies are so much better than rabbit animals. So we're going to go with bunnies for sure. But there's going to come a day when he's 19, sitting around a circle with some friends, and I'll be around, and he'll be talking about this Bunny Mario game, and he'll be Googling it. He'll be able to find Bunny Mario. Like, Bunny Mario won't ever be a thing. And I am going to start laughing and tell him about that time that he was playing a video game with rabid animals, and it was just easier for me as his mom to go ahead and let him think that they were bunnies instead of having to explain the whole concept of rabies to him. So I just laughed because it reminded me of my mom and the Pumpkin Pie Bandits, and I realized I'm becoming my mom, which is actually great, and I turned out pretty good. You should see my brother. He's amazing. And so if I'm doing stuff half as well as my mom and dad did, then I might turn out to pretty decent human beings. So that is my story for today. Again, there's no inspiration in there. There's no education. It is just some good old fun. And you know, if you want to play a funny joke on your kids, have somebody steal your pumpkins this Halloween and then put some pumpkin pies on your doorstep. But I do think my mom had a valid point. If random pumpkin pies end up on your doorstep on November 1st, let's not eat them, guys. Let's not eat them. Okay? Cheers. Have a great day. Don't forget, I'm Coach Danny, and I'm changing the world one drink at a time. So if your life needs changing, reach out to me, and let's hook you up with something physical, financial, whatever the case may be. I might have something for you, but you'll never know unless you ask. So have a great day. Cheers, and go Pumpkin Pie Bandits. By the way, Pumpkin Pie Bandits, if you're watching this, I won't be mad. Just let me know, because I'd love to just know who you were. That's just pretty funny. Okay, cheers. Have a great day.